Alright guys, so I'm back on Think Twice bike, and I'm going to continue on with the rear brake setup and then what it's going to use for a drive lever. And going to continue going with the threaded rod setup. I think I kind of like that. I tried offsetting this back lever so it would be tucked underneath the seat more. But when I stuck it in the vise, I actually crushed the little barrel that was in there, so I had to go make another one out of brass. But anyway, so I want to try to come up with some kind of mounting system for that threaded rod to kind of tuck it in alongside the motor. And what I have is a piece of brake line, and I left the flare on one end and cut it to length. I just stuck it in a drill and then ran some sandpaper over to get rid of that green coating that was on there, because I'm going to want to weld to it. And I was trying to come up with what I wanted to do to mount it back to the motor, and I was going with the same idea with forks again that I did above for the throttle. You know, heating them up and kind of bending them around it. But the only problem is I only have this much distance to work with, so I figured by the time I cut that to about that long, you're not even going to know what it is. So I 86'd that idea, and then I took a couple of spoons and punched some holes in some spoons, and I figure I will try welding them to the fork and then have that go through the center of that, and that can be also the support for that brake line holder. So I'm going to continue on with that and get that mounted up and tacked into place and see how that looks, and I'll turn you back on. And it looks something like that. Basically just tack that spoon to the back of the fork there, and the same thing over there, and then I tacked them to the brake rod tube, and it's going to be a push setup, so that pretty much will work it. So now I got to figure out the conglomeration of the pedal setup up in here, and that's the next part. So I'm going to walk around and see what I have. I know I talked about the golf club, and unfortunately the store is closed today that I would get the spatula from, but we'll see what we can come up with. We might come up with something different from those two ideas altogether. Alright, so I was trying to figure out what I wanted to use for a pedal, and as you could tell, there's a melee of different things laying on the bench because I just wasn't quite sure. So each one of those kind of went up there and tried turning into a lever of some sort, sticking this up there going, how do I like that? I don't know. Horseshoe, and how I like that? I don't know. And then it went to that. And I don't know. And I went to thinking along those lines. That was close. And then this was close. This is a, I think it's marine-like because of the colors that are on it. I'm not sure either that are some kind of directional. I was thinking of doing that, and but that didn't go on there, and then it went to a piece of rim as a pedal. That didn't go on there. And yes, and that guy. So what I come up with, alright, here's what I came up with. I ran a rod, connected it to the other one that I had, and then went with a pivot of brassish kind of material, and then, believe it or not, a small little I Dream a Genie looking vase thing there, and I believe that's brass also, and drilled a hole through the base of that, mounted that to the arm. And what I need to do now is come up with a pivot in the center, and that's pretty much where it's going to go. So you can kind of use the pedal. If you're not pedaling, you could actually kind of hold the pedal right there and just kind of use it as a foot stop, and you can use the top of your foot to work it, kind of thing, you know, or you can put your whole foot right on that. But anyway, that's going to be my my rear brake lever. And yes, I did turn the front end, and the front end doesn't seem to be a problem with it. So, all right, so I'm going to get on making some kind of something there for the middle, and make a pivot for it. See how she functions. That looks pretty good though. Kind of tucks in. I'm trying to keep everything kind of like, you know, sucked in where your leg's not going to hit it. So I figure anything that's kind of on a straight line from where your leg is, you know, is safe. Nothing's really kind of sticking out further than anything else. Furthest thing out is the pull starts, you know. Fitment wise, looks pretty good. That side's pretty good too. The furthest thing out is the, and your legs are way out here. You're not back here. But that cover. It's tucked in nice. Still like the leather going down the center too. Alright, well, I'm gonna get back to work. Alright, so I got that sucker on there. I just use the bolt with a couple of nuts. I'll replace these with jam nuts. You can kind of tweak it wherever you want, put the tension on it. That's pretty much it right there. Off, on. Yeah, about 2 inches of movement. And my thought is you can rest your foot on this when you're hitting the brake. If you need to pedal, you can pedal past it. And let's face it, you're generally not going to be pedaling this thing for other than right off the start maybe, but that should have enough clearance. If not, I can change this out or cut it down if I feel that it's sticking out too far. I got plenty of adjustment in it. That's fine. I was kind of going back and forth whether to use the spoons and tie into these or come off another spot in the cylinder heads, but I figured it might help if I start tying them together. It might actually make them all a little bit stronger. The only thing I kind of screwed up on, which I thought about later, is this motor is slotted. I can move this motor individually from this one, and so whatever tension I need to make for the belts on the other side, I can't chain on the other side. I can. So I kind of tied both motors together now by doing that. But this stuff is fairly flexible, so it's not like it's going to move all that much from where it is right now. I gotta take this and when I take it off, I'll hit it with a flaring tool and I'll flare this end like this. Give it a little bit of guide and just grind down some more of the some of the thread so the thread doesn't want to catch as easy. It just makes it smoother and goes over, and then goop it up. I think it'll be fine. Put a return spring on it. Kind of have a little genie bottle on a bike, don't you? Yeah, it's tucked in there pretty good. Again, I could suck it in a little bit further too with the with this. I could draw it in further. Not sticking out on this side neither. The dirty chain, the dark one, is bent, so it doesn't track very good going around. It's got a big bend in it, but it's just on there for mock-up. You can see it right there. You can see it goes. But I think you have enough room for that. Alright guys, I'm going to shut you down. But I'm at that point where we're gonna start staring at it again for a while. Figure out what I want to do next. Either front end, start doing something with the front end. I think drivetrain is pretty much together. You know, the stuff that I'm not worried about, fuel lines and, you know, wires to kill wires and things like that. We don't care. Just trying to get all the bracketry made, you know, wherever you're gonna go tap into it. That's what it kind of comes down to. Make sure everything clears each other. So probably front end, front brake. Gotta think on that one. I may just kind of go with just leaving it something like what it is, or I may put some more time into it. I'm not sure yet. There's not much else I really have to do on the motor. I can't think of. Throttle's made. Brakes are made. Clutch, drive for the rear wheel is good. Kickstand has to come off, this front one, and it's got to get kicked on an angle. I want to use it for a I want to use the center stand on the back one like it is, and then I want to use the front stand as a single by itself. But you see in the down position, the bike wants to stand almost too much straight up and down. So this kind of needs to be way out here. And if you just bent that way out here, when you put it in the up position, it would be out here when you go down the road. So this somebody has to be cut off, turned sideways, so that when it kicks out on an angle like this. So at some point, probably when I take it apart, I'll just cut it off and do it. I'll try getting underneath there now. Just a bunch of stuff needs to be welded up. I think this is not going to survive the leather belt. I'm still leaving it on there till the very end, but I believe I'm going to end up going with a serpentine belt of sorts on that, because I just need that much better grip because of this would probably work for the drive, where the tensioner is on it. When you go to brake, this, instead of being the one that's doing the pulling, is now being pulled by the back wheel, and so the opposite kind of comes into effect. You would really want, something here to do the job, or here, and so it unloads itself and it'll slip. But I believe if I can get a serpentine belt on there and have that thing just assist a little bit, I think it'll be just fine. But again, I'm just gonna leave it on there now for fit and seize purposes, and if I can get it to work, I do. If I don't, I don't. A lot of things are that way on this. It's just trying to see what you can put together. If it works, good. If I can get on this thing and fire it up and ride it around a parking lot, I'm happy. This is not something that was meant to, I could say I can go cruise 40 miles on. I know it's not. I'm just trying to push my limits a little bit, and trying stuff. So, all right, guys, I'm shutting you down. Again, thanks for watching, comment, subscribing. Take care. What's that right there? Out of my garbage. Popcorn. But somebody didn't like the unpopped ones. Wonder who that is. Lily. What's that? What's that? Who did that? What are you wagging about? Did you go in my garbage? Did you go in my garbage? No? I think you did. Trying to bribe me with presents now, aren't you? Stop it. All right, let's go eat.